Hey everyone, and welcome to Television from the Multiverse, the DC TV podcast from MailFuzz TV. I am Peter. That is Connor, over in the
Yes, it
red
is.
corner.
Oh, okay, you took a bit of a delay there. I thought you were done.
I was just pausing so that,
Well, I
like,
mean, you didn't do your blue corner, so I figured you weren't going to do the red corner.
I never said blue corner for me anyway.
You probably should make it more like a boxing match.
That's just unfair because we know who'd win.
Yeah, me, obviously.
I can take a hit. Anyway, not that I plan on it. Don't hit me, people, please. I beg of you. Anyway, so we talk about DC TV shows. Coming up, because it's the off season, of course, we're still doing some off season content, and that is Lois and Clark, Smallville, and 2 episodes of Young Justice. That's what's coming up on this week's show, as it's done the last like 2 months, and will be the same until shows start returning again in October.
Well, I mean, that's not entirely true. We'll finish Young Justice before that.
Oh, that's true. Okay, so we'll switch over to a different animated show. Or no, actually, no. We decided we're going to do animated movies, just because it's only a few weeks before the shows come back. So rather than start a new thing, but let's be honest. The real reason is we want to do Batman the animated series, but the Blu-ray's not out yet, and we don't want to start watching it in standard definition just to
Not
switch
not when
later.
it's so close, because it's
No.
out in like October. So
So when we get to like,
as soon as we start again
yeah.
with the off-season content,
So
it'll
when we
be
get
ready.
to the Christmas break, Batman the Animated Series will be taking Young Justice's slot with the 2 episodes. But hey, so yeah, so that's what we're gonna do. There was no like concrete news per se this week, I don't think. Just from looking at, because unlike normal, because we're recording this a day late, I've already done the TV news, so there wasn't actually any news. But I did want to mention a couple of
I was just say
tidbits.
just the real shittiness with people on Twitter.
Yeah,
with,
I was going. I was
Ruby
going to
Rose.
mention this. Ruby Rose has left Twitter. Of course, she was cast as Batwoman last week or the week before, whatever week that was, and she's had to leave Twitter because of asshole fans on Twitter giving her shit.
The thing's not even out yet, and she's had to leave. That is, usually it's after people have seen it that they give them shit.
Do you know what gets me about the shitstorm in this one is that I was like, well, what is the backlash exactly? Why are people angry at her? And I assumed I was going to disagree with them because I usually disagree with these things because people are morons. But what got me about this is that it was like not one big thing. It was like there was all these little groups all mad about something different. One was that she's not gay enough. In fact, some said they accused her of not actually being gay, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
There was some didn't like the fact that she's not Jewish.
okay,
Yeah, because apparently Batwoman's Jewish.
I didn't know that. I'll be
I
honest.
didn't either, but hey, maybe she isn't. Because I've not read everything with her, so maybe that is
Maybe
in
I'm just
there somewhere.
forgetting. Maybe I'm just forgetting. But I mean, I wouldn't say you need a Jewish actor to play someone who happens to be Jewish in a story.
I
I mean,
wouldn't
it's
either.
great if it's important. Like if you're doing something that's really about the fact that they're Jewish, then yeah, it probably makes sense to get someone who's Jewish. But when it's just like a part of their character, when it's not like the focus, and clearly it's not a part of the focus because we didn't even realize she was Jewish.
We've read a reasonable amount of stuff with Batwoman in,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Not everything, but a reasonable amount. And
yeah,
we
Red
didn't have any
52,
idea.
read Rucka's detective run on her, read a chunk of the New 52 stuff. I've read all of the Rebirth run of Batwoman, so
And I don't, yeah, I've read most of that stuff as well. I don't recall it ever coming up.
but you know, whatever. And again, I don't think that's a reason to be mad and like harass someone on Twitter, just for the record. Um,
There was the ones who said that she wasn't good enough just as an actress to be a leading role, and then there was the alternative where there was some people saying she's too big because she works in movies to be given this, or it should be given to someone
oh, this
smaller.
is just straight up bullshit.
I know,
This is just straight
it's
up.
so all over the place.
That's just straight up bullshit. This person's too big. They shouldn't be in a role like this. Okay, that is the most ridiculous complaint I've ever heard. And as far as okay, if you have a opinion that she's not a good actress, that's a fair opinion to have. But you don't go and attack actors who like it's not their. If they get offered a job, why would they turn it down? I mean, if anyone you're going to critique, and this is critiquing, this is not harassing on Twitter. If anyone, you would critique the casting director and the showrunner, perhaps, of casting someone who's unfit for the role.
Yeah,
that's not on the actor for being bad. I mean, it's a bad performance. You criticise the actor, but again, critiquing them in a review context or just having an opinion about them is not the same as going to Twitter and sending them shit because you don't like them.
Yeah.
Do you know how much shit I could send Zack Snyder if I was that type of person?
More than is healthy.
Exactly, but I don't, because I'm a reasonable human being, and even though I hate his movies, and even though I think he's an awful director, he's probably a reasonable enough guy. He's probably a nice enough person.
This is the thing. Write their name in the tweet and talk about them. Just don't tag them. If they search for it and see it, that's on them.
Yeah, this is always my argument with Twitter, is like, if you're going to be negative about someone, they can find that if they want to, but don't actually tag them and say, hey, look at this, and see the negativity that I want to say about you. Like, that's just bullshit. Like, don't do that. It's awful.
It is.
So we have another celebrity who's had to abandon Twitter. And she's not abandoned Instagram, but she turned off the comments on her Instagram. So it's just a shame. There's no reason why this should happen. Anyway, and then the other thing, I didn't read the article because when I clicked on the article, it was a giant interview with Stephen Amell, and I'm like, I'm not reading this. I don't care. But the headline implied that CW had to force them to censor some of the upcoming season a little bit. I don't know if it was because the topic got too racy or because something was just too violent how they shot it.
But they had quick skim, see if I can find it.
Do a Control F and see if you can suss out what the actual censoring was. I mean, Arrow's a bad show, so I appreciate, at least if it wants to go full violent, to at least make it schlocky entertaining in that sense. I can get behind that.
It was so gritty that the CW had to censor it.
It was so gritty.
Doesn't
tell me a whole lot.
No, that was I'm just trying to find the actual quote from him. Let's have a look. Yeah, about a particular scene which we've never had before. So we're trying to push the limits of the show in the gritty factor. Okay. That was Bamford who said that, who's done a lot of the stunt coordination in the early seasons. He's directed a few things in later seasons.
So it says it was an action moment rather than a topic.
I'm not sure. He has directed quite a handful of episodes in the last few seasons. So, and it's the season 7 premiere that he's directing. So maybe not action.
Maybe it's the dragon. Maybe he's just a baby in the face or something like that. I don't know.
That'd make me more interested now, I'm not gonna lie.
And make him a more interesting character. Right now he's the blandest of the bland, the McBlanderson.
Yeah. Even being drunk hasn't saved him.
No, he's awful. And he's the one villain who seems to actually properly be coming back for the following season. It's maddening. Anyway, let's get to the shows we're going to talk about. Starting off with Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman, Season 1, Episode 18. It's called Vatman. So, full spoilers for the episode and the other episodes as well as we talk about them. So, this is basically Lois and Clark's take on Bizarro.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it. I mean, it's definitely... I'm glad they didn't call him Bizarro because it's not really Bizarro, but at the same time, it shares a lot with...
It's inspired by Bizarro.
Yeah, because obviously the plot is that Lex is cloned Superman and he has a Superman that's loyal to him. But instead of being Bizarro, he's a very immature... He's basically a 10-year-old who happens to be Superman. And he acts that way, and he's like, oh, well, I don't want to. Well, it's bedtime now.
It's kind of Bizarro meets Shazam.
kind of, in a weird way. Because we have this opening where there's the plane's going down over Paris. It's really bad. And Clark saunters into the newsroom and he's like, "What's happening, everyone?" And that was my donuts. And they're like, "Oh, it's awful, Clark. There's a plane going down in Paris." He's like, "Oh, I left my thing in my car." "You don't have a car." "Taxi cab, in the taxi cab car." And then he runs off. He's about to rip open the shirt, and then he's like, "Wait a minute, Superman's showing up. He's saving the plane." And Clark's like,
"Yeah,
what?"
Because it literally, he turns around and then the camera cuts back, and then it's like, Eddie seems like, that was quick. Yeah. Even for this show, Superman, like that was quick.
And then he's right there. Yeah, he's standing right there. He's in shock. He's like, what? What's happening? What's going on? And that kind of sets up. And obviously, we find that this adolescent Superman's a little bit more temperamental. He ends up throwing a guy across, and even Lois is like, this isn't right. This isn't Superman. Whoever that was, that wasn't him. He's like, he kissed me, and I've been kissed by Superman. That wasn't Superman. He's like, he kissed you, and Clark's getting all jealous and asking. So no, I mean it's a fun enough plot. I do have to critique. There's a bit of a Star Trek thing, towards the end, where you can tell they had a random set that they wanted to just use, like probably from something else. It's like, where's the final big showdown going to happen between Superman and the clone? Oh, let's say they're on like a studio tour for Metro Brothers Pictures, because Metropolis has their Warner Brothers knockoff, and it'll be like a Western set. Okay, so I have to imagine this was a Western set they had lying around for some other show or something. It's like, oh, we can use that. Just make an excuse.
It'll do. Yeah. I appreciate the little joke of, oh, the Tor coming in and be like, oh, nothing's shooting here at the minute, or maybe it is, and then, oh shit, that's real.
Yeah, we're gonna leave now. Let's go. I kind of appreciate that they made it an actual set though, because then they don't have to even like pretend that it's a real Western town. It's just like, no, it's actually a movie set, so it doesn't matter if you see the back of the buildings and shit.
I think that this gets away with it because, one, it doesn't do it all the time like Star Trek did.
That's
Two, it felt very natural in the script that at least it was being addressed, and it was, very aware that it was just a set.
Oh, sure. I mean, it's natural in that sense. I think the reason why it stood out to me is because it's just so random. Like, there's like, why a movie set? Like, why is this where this is happening?
Just because. Just spice it up a bit. We're bored of warehouses.
Felt a bit specific and random. To be fair, this has not done a lot of warehouses in this show.
No, it's been the odd one.
Yeah, they've kind of got around that a little bit. I feel there's a lot of vaults and a lot of offices and stuff like that, and a lot of rooftops, but not a whole lot of warehouses specifically.
Yeah. No, that's true.
But hey,
I'm just saying, some of the CW shows could take a leaf out of this and stumble into a film set.
So yeah, the main plot's not bad. It's just it's not my favorite by any means. Obviously, I like the speculation from Clark when he's talking to his parents. He's kind of like, is this a brother? If I got a twin brother, he looks exactly like me. And I like that Jonathan quite rightly says, yeah, I feel like Jor-El would have mentioned that in the message if he had like a twin coming as well. And you're like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Maybe he's just another Kryptonian that gets sent here. It's like, yeah, but he looks exactly like you. And you're like, okay, yeah, I like that kind of troubleshoot. It's like he's trying to think of all the reasons why this might happen. And they keep saying, no, but this is why it wouldn't be that. And I was like, okay, I like that you're problem solving this and you're kind of talking it through. I did laugh though because they mentioned an alternate reality at one point. Like, could he be from like an alternate dimension? And it's like, oh, don't start on that sci-fi nonsense, Martha. And I laughed at that because just you wait. Later seasons, we're going to get into some alternate reality shenanigans. It does happen. We get there.
Oh, I'm sure we do.
It does happen, and it's good fun when it does. But that made me laugh because I'm like, no, that's coming. Just you wait a couple of seasons. We're getting there. But yeah,
bit early in the show for that yet, though.
Yeah, but no, I dug it. I dug it well enough. What I thought was a bit weird about this episode was we had obviously it turned out not to be what it was, right? But it is oddly dark that there's a subplot where Jimmy thinks Perry is planning to commit suicide.
I feel like it was undercut a little that the whole time you're waiting for the punchline, like you know that it's okay because you hear him organizing other things as well, so you're pretty sure it's this charity event, right? Yeah.
You hear the charity event. You hear. And he sees this this bridge at this time and date, and obviously he's doing a bungee jump for charity, but Jimmy thinks he's going to just jump off because he hears about he had like a medical update and maybe he got bad news and maybe he just wants to end it in his own terms and that kind of thing, and he keeps like doing things like he's having a midlife crisis, like he's trying to like try all these adventurous things before he dies. So he's going to have the sushi that kills you or something like that,
Yeah.
And he's trying all these different things. And he's got a toupee on.
I mean, there is a little bit of a midlife crisis stuff going on because those things are still there, and him, talking about like, oh, you got to live life to its fullest, and even Kat's like that. That doesn't sound like Perry.
Yeah, it's still kind of there, but which I guess is what makes it murky is that he's kind of having a midlife crisis anyway, but the entire thing's actually just a build up for the joke that he's not actually.
Yeah.
Going to kill, and that'd be really dark for having a subplot here where Perry's intending on committing suicide. So it didn't because I knew it was a joke the whole time, it was fine, but at the same time we find Jimmy gets this idea so early in the episode and the subplot goes for so long where he thinks he's going to kill himself and he's constantly concerned about it, that it just kind of felt weird. It was just kind of like, this is oddly morbid.
Like I say, I feel like it was undercut by waiting for the punchline, and because it goes on so long, I just kind of felt deflated by the end. That was a bit just a bored of that plot.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And then, he jumps and his toupee falls like half off, and this whatever it is, whatever. And we get this really odd ending where they're all sitting joking about this and him being 50, and I'll be honest, I thought he was older than that. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think he was.
I did. I was like, only 50, really?
Yeah. I wonder if Lane Smith was already older, or if, I don't know. But
no idea.
I thought he was in his late 50s already.
Yeah, I thought it'd be closer to 60.
Yeah, but whatever. But not to judge, not to judge. But hey, so it's got this weird thing where the camera like goes up at the end to the sky, and like the Superman emblem like appears in the stars, and I'm like,
yeah,
that's cute, but why are we doing that this episode?
Just because they thought of it this week.
I mean, it would make sense to me in a finale, maybe like, oh, end of the season, come back next year.
Yeah.
Here's the symbol one last time. I don't know.
I don't know. I got no answer for you on this one. Just like I said, just because they thought of it this week and they went, "Oh, that'll be a good idea."
Really specific. We have to talk about a certain guest star this week, though.
Yeah.
A younger Michael McKean appears as a sleazy scientist, the scientist behind the cloning, in fact. But he's a sleaze, and he's eyeing up Lois, and he's like trying to like ask her out on a date, and of course she shoots him down because of course she does. But he's got these big thick rimmed glasses on, and he's kind of like peering through them and like, well, Miss Lane, my research, yeah. So unfortunately, it takes much longer. He was doing this voice the entire time.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It was fun seeing him.
No, I agree with that.
It's like, hey, Chuck's here for Better Call Saul. Hey, wait, hey.
It's always fun seeing him when he was younger, and now because it's one of those that I've seen over the years, but never as like a big role until Better Call Saul.
In fact, he's in Smallville at one point, actually.
He is, yeah. I think he plays Perry.
He does. He plays Perry, yeah.
Yeah, thought so.
Yeah, it was funny, actually. I feel like he looked younger here than I'd seen him, because I'd seen him in a movie called Hider in the House from, like, I want to say 1990. So a few years before this. Yeah. And I swear he looked older than that.
Maybe. I saw him in This Is Spinal Tap, and he definitely looks younger in that.
Oh, yeah, that was like a decade before this.
That was like a decade before this. Like I said, that's the youngest I've seen him.
But because he had like he was like a husband in that with a business suit, and his hair was slicked back, and he kind of looked like, yeah, I mean, obviously he's not as old as Chuck in Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul rather, but because it's 30 years before, but
you can kind of see it.
But I can see him, like he's still there. It feels like a younger version of that Chuck. Whereas here he felt way younger. I guess it was just the lab get up and the way they had his hair, and the glasses and stuff. But that's fine. I did get a kick out of Lex being this awful father who teaches all the opposite things.
Because might is right.
Might is right, yes. It's very, very Injustice Society, kind of like just the opposite of everything. I particularly enjoyed...
I suppose does lean into the Bizarro sort of thing, right? The opposites.
I guess it kind of does. I did particularly enjoy, it was the... what was the story he was telling? Red Riding Hood.
Yes.
It was about the wolf teams up with Red Riding Hood and sues the granny.
Yeah.
That was like, I was like, oh, that's kind of funny, actually. This is actually a really funny twist in that story.
Only an evil genius businessman would come up with that story.
Yeah, I thought that was good. So that cracked me up. That was fun. But yeah, and you had the whole thing where Clone was attracted to Lois, and
as expected, the usual stuff, right?
Yeah, he was obviously Clark was very lucky that the Clone didn't want to tell anyone that it was Clark, because he figured that out quite quickly.
I mean, to be honest, Clark wasn't that subtle about it, though, was he?
Not really, no.
He as Clark Kent stopped him.
That's true, actually. That's a good, in front of Lois, no less. Like Lois,
and do you know what, that's the thing. Lois gives him a weird look when he does it, like in the moment, and then never addresses it again.
Yeah, because he goes to like grab Lois, and Clark grabs his hand, and he actually is able to stop him, and no one ever like questions like, wait a minute, like he's still supposed to have the strength of Superman, and seemingly he could do that. Okay,
yeah.
Keep that.
Lois gives him a weird look, but then nothing.
She's noted it down.
Yeah. It's in the head. It'd be like, I know now. but I'm just not ready to reveal it.
I don't think she knows yet,
No.
but I think that's like the first big piece of evidence. Like,
I think so, yeah.
yeah, when she eventually figures it out, I feel like this is the first thing in the journal of like suspicions about Clark. All right, number one. I did actually. I got a good crack actually earlier on. Just another fun little Lois moment. After this, it's her and Clark are debating about like who this second Superman. So she's like come to agree that this is a second Superman, right? There's two of them, and they're debating in the newsroom about who this second one is, and Clark's like, oh, well, what if it's a twin or something like that? And Lois goes, Superman doesn't have a twin brother. He definitely doesn't. And he's like, how would you know? Because he would have told me. And then it was just the way she says that, matter of fact, like, no, he would confine that in me. He would tell me that.
Definitely.
That cracked me up. I enjoy that sort of thing. But no, so that was good. I know there was a little bits and pieces here or there for just Lois moments, Clark moments. It tries to play the sad card at the end where the clone sort of realizes that no, Superman's right and he's the good person, and
it's got to destroy every part of him so that they can't clone him again.
You have to destroy the hair that they cloned you with, but also destroy me so they can't just make more of you from me. And he's like, no, I don't want to do that. I'm like, but you have to. It doesn't actually really tell us how he does. I assume he throws him out of the sun.
Yeah, that or maybe enough heat vision works.
Maybe, because I thought that's what it was going to do. I thought we were going to get a scene with him flying out and throwing him into the sun.
That's too dark.
That's too dark.
I think so. I think for this show in the 90s.
Well, after he's died, though, maybe he's wrapped up. It's like more like a funeral.
Yeah, I guess. Because he does talk about it like a Viking funeral, right? He mentions that. It's like, it was set on fire. So I think the imagery would have been nice, but just too expensive to bother.
Maybe, yeah.
It's probably storyboarded.
Probably. But yeah, so I tried to play the sweet card a little bit here and there. I think overall, as an episode, it's kind of middle of the road.
Yeah, I think it's reasonable. I think it suffers coming after the last one, though.
Yeah, the last one was fantastic. This one has some nice moments, some good stuff. The subplot maybe outwears its welcome a little bit. And yeah, the main plot, like I don't know if I necessarily bought the emotion when he's like, brother, at the end. He's like, oh, yes.
It comes out of nowhere a little bit, doesn't it? Like that one nice interaction at the end, and then suddenly it's like, oh, that would have been really nice to have a brother.
Yes. And I get that, Clark has always felt alone because of who he is, but it just came out of nowhere in this episode. So, but hey, so that was Lois and Clark. Well, that'll take us on to Smallville.
I suppose we should.
Season 1, episode 17, it's called Reaper. And I don't want to lie, I didn't remember a thing about this episode.
Did you not?
No, I don't remember this at all, and I'm sure I've seen it because I don't skip episodes when I watch things, so I know I watched it, but
yeah, no, I remembered it, or at least parts of it.
So honestly, the thing that stood out to me about this one the most is Whitney's got a new haircut, and I feel like he's went through like 4 haircuts since the start of this season, which I thought was just odd.
Yeah. I mean, people get haircuts every few months, right?
They do, but I feel like in TV shows they like to keep consistent throughout a season, or they'll have maybe one big change and they'll mention it, but they deliberately try and keep it consistent for a reason. And it's especially notable because typically guys with short hair, there's only so much you can do with the short hair, but somehow they've found a way to make his hair look completely different. Like
I think I appreciate that in some ways, because there are definitely guys I went to school with who every 3 months would just have you got a haircut and it looks completely different. It feels kind of real in that sense.
Yeah, okay. I'm looking at it more from this is a TV show and I'm watching it. This is weird. Why is his hair changing? Kind of way.
Yeah, no, I think it was supposed to be like, hey, people do this. Maybe we should not just change it once a year like TV shows, because then it feels like a TV show.
Yeah, okay, we can go with that. But anyway, so his dad is dying. He's on his last, he's on his deathbed, and that's relevant to the episode because our villain character is a son who, when he visits his dying mother, who requests that he kill her. She wants to be euthanized, and with a pillow no less. Just smother with a pillow, son. and he does it for her. He gets caught. Then there's a bit of a kerfuffle. There's an explosion, and he should be dead, but of course he was wearing some kryptonite and he's like necklace or his chain or whatever on his wrist, and it goes into his body, and he becomes a walking reaper where anything he touches will die and just wither away. What got me was that later on in the episode it turns out that even himself, like, he just puts his hands together and it kills him, and I'm like, how's he been like functioning?
Yeah.
For the last several months.
He hasn't. He's been dead. He doesn't need to eat. He doesn't have any bodily functions to take care of. He always wears gloves.
He always wears gloves, but he would be smelling rape if he's not showering. How is he cleaning himself?
I mean, I don't have the answer to that.
I
can't help you on that one in particular.
Nonsense. Absolute nonsense.
Maybe like a brief touch just kind of takes off the top layer of shite. I don't know.
Oh my god, he's such an uninteresting villain. Obviously, there's an old lady in Smallville who's dying, and
do you know what the worst part is? I feel like I want to applaud the effort of being a bit more subtle and, you know, tackling the topic, right?
I think the problem is that all of a sudden out of nowhere, Clark and Martha volunteer for this thing where they go and visit old people, and I'm like, where's this been all season?
Yeah, it makes it sound like Martha always does it.
Yeah.
Because, you know, oh, this is the new driver, right?
Yes.
Clark, I think, maybe sometimes goes along by the sounds of it.
But they go to this old woman and she's dying, and she kind of is, you know, the guy's nice to her and she's in a bit of pain, and he comes back later that night and kills her. You know, turns out to dust. So it's almost like the dusting effect from Buffy the Vampire. So the hit television show, you might say.
I was waiting for that. As soon as I saw that effect, I knew that was coming.
But that's kind of what it looks like, actually.
It does look like that, yeah.
And obviously they look into it, and Chloe's convinced that's just suspicious. This is spontaneous combustion. There's something weird going on here, and she goes digging into it as she does.
I want to question why that's suspicious. If she's like, nah, it can happen, then it happened. Get over it. There's no cause. It just happened, right? That's the whole point.
Yeah, it's like she wants to prove that's what it was, though. She's not looking for a culprit necessarily.
Yeah, okay.
She just wants people to believe her that this was spontaneous combustion.
Sure.
And turns out it's not, though. And Martha sees him, you know, kill a flower, and then he touches Clark, but of course Clark can fight it. He gets hurt, but he can resist it. Yeah. And then later he just convinced, you know, because it turns out the guy's mum actually survived, and so he didn't even do his job properly. She's alive, and he goes to see her, and then he's convinced by Clark that this was all wrong and that he's just an agent of death, so he kills himself. And that's basically the main plot. Honestly, this is quite a dull episode. I feel like I need to criticize the last couple of episodes for being kind of dull to make fun of, because they're not good. They're pretty mediocre and bad and very on the nose, but they're not having the laugh out loud, this is ridiculous bullshit territory that you know, a lot of the early season had.
No, it's true. Like I said, I want to applaud the effort of trying to tackle a topic like this, right? Because it's something that they should be doing. If assuming you're a good show and you're going, hey, you know, we want to tackle this thing, yeah. Why not?
Yeah,
it's just it leads to it doesn't quite land because it's really like by the end really one-sided. Just no, of course this is the right answer, right?
I feel like the problem with this topic though is it feels really shoehorned in a show about teenagers.
Yeah, that's fair.
It feels like we're doing this topic, whereas at least in Supergirl, when they tackle various social issues, they all feel like things that are relevant to the adults in the show, just naturally, right? Whereas this, it feels like all of a sudden we're going to show in some old people in just so that we can do some euthanasia.
I agree. I think in the effort to make it relevant, they tried to tie it to Whitney's dad, but we don't care about Whitney's dad because we've seen him like twice.
Yeah, we don't care. No. So we're supposed to care at the end because Whitney tells Clark at one point. Because notice how Whitney's not even like jealous or worried about Clark anymore. He's just like, "Oh, Lana sent you," and that's just it. Like he's not like he's forgotten. Which I kind of like because it makes sense. If he's worried about his studies and he's worried about his dad, he would stop being a dickhead.
Right?
Yeah, he stopped being immature because he's kind of been forced out of it almost.
Yeah, and also on the topic of okay, you know, they tied it into Whitney's dad. Mm-hmm. At least that's been ongoing, unlike just the the delivery service thing, right? That has been a topic for a while now. That his dad's been in.
That's fair. I just don't care about his dad.
No.
But because he mentions to Clark that his dad also had a dream of seeing him, like, plays first pitch, or not pitch. It's not a pitch in football.
It's not a pitch, no.
No, pitch is baseball. These first. What do you call it when they all line up in football like that and they do their play?
I don't know.
Well, they hold the ball between their legs like an idiot and then pass it behind them for some reason.
It's not run. It's not throw. Play?
The first play, I guess, yeah. First play, yes. Maybe score his first touchdown. I don't know.
Do they have touchdowns in American football?
Of course they have touchdowns.
I don't know.
That's the one thing I know about American football is they have touchdowns.
All right, okay. I know nothing about American football, clearly.
If anything, that's why I associate the word touchdown with. What, do they do touchdowns in rugby? Is that a thing?
No.
No?
Okay. It's one of those words that I don't really care about where it's from. Like, is that sport?
Seriously, why do you bend over and pass the ball through your legs? This just feels like a joke. Feels like, I don't know. Anyway,
I mean, they do it a bit in rugby too, so I can't really argue, right?
Well, yeah, rugby's equally stupid though, so it's fine.
At least rugby doesn't stop every 10 seconds. I mean, it's not a bad. I'm not really saying it's a good sport. I don't really care. I'm just saying I don't understand how you can watch American football when it stops so much.
When I think both sports are as boring as this, it's actually a benefit because at least the sport stops and I can watch the ads instead, which are better. Anyway,
but it doesn't stop and watch the ads. You still got to wait. You just got to wait longer for the ads.
Well, it's an out then. It's a time to say, you know what, this isn't for me. I can leave. It's an actual stopping point. Anyway, so he's to play his first play with the.
Still doesn't sound right.
The Metropolis team, whatever they're called, the Hawks, the Sharks. Was it the Sharks? And so Lex, because Lionel owns the team, gets the actual team to come to the Smallville High's football field, and gets them to play a fake game with Whitney, so his dad can watch it. This is like, do you know how much these players get paid? I mean, I know it's not a real team, but assuming it's a real team in the main leagues.
I mean, they got to do a training session anyway, though, right?
That's true.
Just throw him in a training session. Problem solved.
You're going to coach to Smallville, to the middle of nowhere, so that some teenager can play with you.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like they were in a stadium, right? So maybe they went up to Metropolis.
His first pass. Throw his first pass with the Sharks. Was it pass? I think it was pass.
Was that it? I'm honestly, Wikipedia is not that helpful because I think it just assumes I know whatever I'm. What a quarterback calls the plays, and then throws it or runs with it. So yeah, I mean it's a play, but maybe it was the pass specifically.
Yes.
I don't know. Clearly, football is beyond me.
Yes. Aye.
This is as bad as the sporting discussion last week, isn't it?
Was that last week?
I think so. With the dude at the start, whose name I've obviously forgotten.
Does it start?
Mo. Because with the basketball thing. Yeah, I can't find this thing on football. Clearly, American football is not my sport.
It doesn't matter. Nothing's my sport. It's fine. Well, I mean, I could enjoy playing golf. I think I'm not going to watch it. I mean, watching it's boring as shit. But
yeah, I couldn't watch golf.
A nice walk, hitting a ball with a club. I could do that.
I think the precision of it bores me. I can do a driving range. Just smack it as hard as you can. I can see the appeal in that.
Mm-hmm.
Once I have to be like, okay, I've got to hit it at that hole. I'm like, okay, I'm bored now.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway. I forgot where we were because you went.
I don't know. Was there really anything left to say?
We didn't have to find out what the football term was. You just insisted on looking it up.
I thought it'd be easier to find than that. I thought it would be basics in the first paragraph of Wikipedia.
No,
but apparently it's so basic they don't even tell me.
So, yeah, there's a subplot with with Lionel, and he sent a guy to investigate Lex, and because the money's looking funny, and it ends up leading to Jonathan, and Jonathan finds out that Lex was investigating Clark after the bridge accident.
And he tells Clark, and Clark's like, "Oh yeah, I know, but it's fine. Clark's promised that's behind us."
Yeah, Lex was upfront about it. Well, not upfront.
And John's like, wait. You knew about this and didn't tell me.
He was honest about it later on. Which, whatever, fine. And obviously just plays into the fact that they have a bit of a fight because Clark doesn't want to go fishing anymore, but it breaks his heart because Jonathan loves going fishing with his boy, and then this like adds fuel to the fire, and then they have this big falling out, and then they make up by the end of the episode. And obviously it ties into the themes of Whitney and his dad, like, and having time with your father and blah, blah, blah.
I think the only part of this I thought was reasonably realistic and kind of gave me a chuckle was when Martha comes to class, like, when you go talk to him, he's like, "Nah, it's fine. I'll blow over in a couple of weeks. We'll be silent, and then some small talk, and then it'll be fine. Nothing ever happened." Like, yeah, that sounds pretty real.
Yeah, that's how people actually get over these things. Yes.
Yeah.
That does sound real. I mean, it's fine what they're doing here. Like, yeah, we have them falling out. I guess it rings a bit false to me because I think Jonathan's hatred and mistrust of the Luthers feels so one note at this point because he's just always it's a Luther, I can't trust him.
Yeah.
That it's hard to take it that seriously anymore, and hard to like kind of treat it as if because Lex has at least done his best to try and appear to be friend. I mean, I would question maybe why he's so determined to be a friend of your teenage son and why he's constantly coming around and helping with things. But
I guess saving your life does that, right?
I guess it does. But other than that, though, I mean, Lex has done his best.
He's been quite an upstanding gentleman for the most part.
Yeah, he's done his best. And Lex outwits his father and puts the guy in a trunk and is like, Lionel, stay away from me.
As you do.
Yeah.
That said, we haven't spoken about the worst scene of the episode yet.
Yeah, what's the worst scene of the episode?
Oh, Whitney and Lana at the graves.
Oh, that's right. He's like, you've never come out here before, Whitney, to look at my dead parents. Like, that's because I didn't like thinking about my parents dying. It made me depressed, and I hated it.
Yeah.
So
Clark had no problem coming out here.
No. I just love though. I didn't want to deal with your dead parents because it made me think about my parents dying. I didn't like that.
So selfish. I love how he just says that out loud.
You're so depressing, Lana. Always talk about your dead parents.
To be fair, the first half of season it was dead parents.
I know she would never shut up about her dead parents. To the point where I almost wished they came back to life so I could watch them die again in front of her.
At least we get some satisfaction out of it then, right?
Yeah.
It's like now talk about your dead parents.
I was like, I just say at the end of the episode when they're sitting on the bleachers and they're Clark and Lana are together watching Whitney play and his dad's down there watching him play. Why Jonathan shows up to be in this scene, I don't know. I mean, he obviously comes over and he talks to Lex about everything, and they kind of settle their differences a little bit. But
I'm sure until next episode.
Until next time, yeah. Until next time, Jonathan gets a whiff that Lex is up to no good. But they kind of come to understand, and he's like, a miracle happened. I want to investigate it. He's like, well, I just accept miracles happen, and they just kind of agree. He's like, this is a nice thing you did for Whitney. So, okay, fair enough. Anyway, but so Clark and Lana are sitting together, and Lana says, "You asked Lex to do this, didn't you?" It's like, yeah, well, being friends with Lex is kind of weird, but it has its upsides. And she kisses him on the cheek, and he's like, "What's that for?" I was like, "Just being you." And she gives him this little smirk, and she walks off all giggly. And all I could feel like, this is weird. Like, he helped her current boyfriend give this present to his father by getting his billionaire friend to get this football team to come and play in front of him. And that is somehow working for him to woo over the girlfriend of the guy that he did this for. This is so weird and convoluted.
I think all this tells us is Lex was right. Yeah, all the times Lex has gone, it's just a boyfriend. You can get around that, right? and he's gone, just throw some money at it. That'll do the problem. Here's a limo. Here's some concert tickets. Here's a football team. Clearly, it's working.
And all I could think was, Lana, this feels very flirty. You're clearly sending some message, doing the kiss and saying, "Oh, that's just for being you." That feels like it's got some implications there. There's feelings brewing, and
it does, yeah.
It's like, "Oh, I'll kiss you in the cheek. That's just for being you." I'm gonna go sit down there with my boyfriend now. I'll be back. Oh dear. Smallville's teen romance drama never fails to befuddle me.
It's so bad. Not to be fair, there are not a ton of awful cheesy 2000 songs in this one.
No, not a ton.
They didn't stick out as egregiously bad anyway.
And you know, still a better love story than Twilight.
Yeah, still applicable.
It's applicable for now. I don't know if it's applicable later seasons.
Yeah, we'll have to pick a moment where that stops being true.
Yeah. Not that I've ever sat through Twilight, admittedly. Oh, there's a Patreon goal.
Oh, there is a Patreon goal. I've seen it, so I know what I'm getting in for.
Oh, I've not seen any of them.
I've been dragged to the first, like, 2, maybe 3. I don't know.
It could be like, oh, like, you know, like they do with a bowl goal. It's like, oh, once we hit a certain amount, we'll do Twilight. Then another 100, we'll do another Twilight.
I've definitely seen 2 of them. Maybe a third. Definitely not 4 or 5. Which is a shame, because I'm pretty sure Anna Kendrick's in the last couple.
Not worth it.
No, it's not. That's how much it's not worth it. And I watched a lot of shit with Anna Kendrick in, but not watching those. Not unless you force me into it.
Oh, that's a goal if ever. Why was this not a goal? Why was watching Smallville not a goal?
I don't know.
Why did we just agree to this?
We've got to show them what it's like when we're in pain, so they know that they want to pay for more of it. We're gonna give them the sample up front first.
I hate it. I hate it so much.
Yeah, me too.
All right, well, on to Young Justice then. There are 2 episodes again this week. We had the Runaways, which is episode 14 of season 2, and then episode 15, which is called War. What I will say about weird about watching these 2 back to back after where we ended last week with Miss Martian being with Aqualad and trying to solve that out with Artemis is that it's weird that neither of these episodes have any of that at all.
Yeah, it's quite an extended break when you think about it.
Because I was getting towards the end of the second one, I was like, wait, we've not seen like Miss Martian or Artemis or any of that stuff in like 2 episodes.
No, we do follow on the Blue Beetle thread from the last couple of episodes.
Yeah, I'd arguably say that's the main thing that carries over throughout both of these episodes, because the first one we deal with some of the kids they rescued at Star Labs, wanting to break out of Star Labs. So we got a bunch of D&E listers, most of whom I don't know really, from even though I've read a lot of DC comics. Static I've heard of course.
Yeah, but, I knew one.
Yeah, but they break out. They want to do a little jailbreak, and Blue Beetle is actually sent after them, and he ends up sort of siding with them a little bit, and he's going to go with like let me take you to Green Beetle, and we'll help figure things out. But then of course Red Volcano shows up at Star Labs trying to steal some tech. Was it some Amazo body parts? Yeah. And Blue Beetle's like, okay, I'm the only one in the vicinity. He gets a call from Dick, so he has to go and try and fight him. So it becomes this fight with Red Volcano, and the other kids are like, wait a minute, like that, my dad's. I mean, even though I kind of don't like my dad that much, like he's still there in danger. We should probably go back and try and save them. So they end up, making the heroic choice to go back and try and save everyone there, even though they hated it there, and even though they hated everyone because they felt like prisoners. And so we have some of the stuff for them, like saving people, and I like Ty's power, where he makes his big astral form. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Where he sort of has like an exterior big version of himself that can like pick things up and whatnot.
I thought it was a cool variety of powers. You had the girl with like the sonic waves sort of thing that propels her. Yeah,
it's like she builds up force and she can sort of like ram into you with the.
Yeah.
But it's not like a blast you can just blast out though. It's like, it blasts her into you.
Yeah, it blasts her, and then you got the teleport one.
Yeah, simple. Nightcrawler rules. You has to have a line of sight and see it.
Yeah. That works.
And then of course, Static's got the electric powers. So that was an interesting variety, and it was interesting seeing them all get out of various situations and like problem solve how they're getting out of things. The big thing here though is that Blue Beetle goes off the deep end and seems to be very violent and not really
willing to sacrifice them to stop the villain.
Yeah. And they question this, and then the media show up, and he's been all kind of cocky in front of the media. And the big ending here is that when the Green Beetle like went into his scarab, he didn't like stop it from working. He actually
fixed it
and got it working. So now Blue Beetle's under the control of the scarab, and he is with Black Beetle and Green Beetle. Green Beetle's been a villain the whole time.
Of course he was. We said this last week. Yeah, hang on, he's too suspicious still.
Yeah, Dick was on to him, to be fair though. Dick's on the right path.
Dick tried his best.
Yeah. That's what someone with erectile dysfunction says after a failed sex attempt. Dick tried his best, but we'll try next time.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that was the gist of the episode. But of course, the other big thing at the end is that Lex tries to recruit the 4 heroes, the Runaways, and he's like, "Hey, I'll let you be whoever you want. I mean, I was the one who cut the power so you could escape, you know."
Yeah. I thought that this episode was pretty solid. It did a good job of building this little group out of basically nothing.
Yeah, I think it was impressive because it was characters that I didn't care about, and it made me kind of like them by the end. I was kind of into them to the point where when Blue Beetle went kind of rogue and they were the ones saving people, it was like, okay, this is kind of a nice little reversal where now I care about them more than Blue Beetle in this scene because Blue Beetle's acting kind of out of character.
Yeah.
So it was a nice little trick there because I was like, okay, right, I'm kind of into these characters now a little bit.
It was really well done. I felt like really anime influence in the designs of these characters, and just the style in which they were drawn here. It felt like really anime to me.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
But, I also really liked that Volcano kept calling everyone meatbags because it just reminded me of HK-47 from Knights of the Republic.
I'm glad you said what that was from because I was like, what was that from?
Yeah. He's an assassin droid from the Star Wars game, and he just calls everyone meatbags, and it just made me feel nostalgic.
All right.
Yeah. That's all I got it, but little things help.
Red Volcano's all right. I liked it was kind of unstoppable, and then Blue Beetle.
I really like the bit where it's like, oh yeah, hot plasma. What do you think that's gonna do? Remember the name Volcano?
Yeah. And I like at the end because like Blue Beetle's willing to just like destroy the entire building, even to get to him, and he does. He wins, and he ends up ripping out his core. But hey, so that was a pretty solid episode. I think it advanced things quite a bit in terms of the Blue Beetle plot, but it did so by making me care about 4 characters who, were basically unknowns. So that's kind of impressive.
Yeah,
so.
we basically seen them once. Ty, especially, I think we'd seen a couple of times in relation to Blue Beetle.
Yeah, we saw him get kidnapped. Yeah, we saw him get taken.
Yeah, but I mean, the rest of them, this is basically the first time we're seeing them in any sort of context.
And then the next episode was called War, and again, this was very focused. We get a little bit of the Justice League in their trial in space.
Rimbo, yeah.
Getting sort of like, hey, we've got all this footage of you attacking people, and they're like, no, we were made to do this with Vandal Savage, who, by the way, is in the crowd. He's like watching this with a big smirk in his face.
I like a bit as well that they're like, we're defenders. We're not. We don't want to cause anyone damage, and it just cuts to images of them, even just being the Justice League, and they're like, yeah, but why are we going to believe that when you're all violent?
And we find out they find out about the Reach being on Earth, and the Earth seemingly has accepted the Reach, and John's a little bit worried about this. He's like, hey, technically that means I can't go back. Like Green Lanterns are,
There's a thing. There's a rule now where, if they're invited to the planet, which we've seen them be invited, then it the Reach are allowed to take it as part of their empire, and no Green Lantern is allowed to set foot there.
Yeah, which feels a bit unfair when you've got 4 Earth Lanterns who live there. That's their home.
Yeah. Do we have 4 yet?
Well, I don't know if we get 4 in this show. We have 2, obviously.
We have to have 2. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get like Kyle in season 3 or something like that. They'll introduce Kyle. Oh, I hope so.
If they do, I know they've been pretty serious with some redesigns here or there. Please get rid of the stupid crab mask.
Nah, keep the crab mask. That's the thing you need. If anything, do the 90s costume with the grey section.
Oh God. I will never understand your love of that shite crab mask.
It's great. It's a great crab mask.
It's atrocious.
It's fantastic. That's it. I'll take Jessica as well. If Jessica wants to be the 3rd one that they introduce next season, I'll also take that because she's my favourite Lantern.
Yeah, I'm down for that. I prefer Guy, don't get me wrong, but hey.
No, Guy's in last place. I want every Green Lantern before Guy.
No. I want Guy to be really confrontational with Batman.
And I want Batman to punch him and put him in his place.
I'd be down for watching that still, because it would mean I'd get Guy in the show.
But best part of any Green Lantern comic is when Guy gets punched.
I'm not sure I can dispute that, because it's always funny.
So, Mongol is around though, and he's bringing Warworld to Earth.
It's cool, isn't it?
They basically treat it in this almost like it's a big Death Star, right? Because they even like reference it to the moon. Because at one point, as Bumblebee looks up, and Malcolm's getting all pissed, like, "Oh, you're distracted again. You're not paying attention to me." He's like, "Sorry, Mal, I'm distracted by the freaking second moon in the sky."
It's pretty distracting.
That's a pretty funny line. I kind of like their banter throughout the episode. I haven't really cared about the plot about him feeling left out because she's like too focused on her work and her science. But I did kind of get a crack of like he just started dropping all these little like snarky comments at her, and she's like, "Was that a dig at me? We're in the middle of a mission. What are you doing?"
He's like, you're always in the middle of a mission.
Yeah. So he just keeps dropping these lines, and it's like it's just like catty back and forth between them as they're fighting off. So basically, what happens is that the team splits into like 4 or 5 different squads, and they all attack different parts of War World. Robin and Batgirl won. Superboy's with not Artemis, Arsenal, with one, and they're all doing various things. And it's basically an action episode. There's a lot of fighting. There's a lot of like, a lot of characters try to fight Mongol, and Mongol just destroying them.
Because that's what Mongol does.
Yeah, and then eventually, like, obviously they take him because Bumblebee like interrupts the artificial technology that's making everything run, and this affects Mongol, and they take him down. I kind of liked actually at the end when they were kind of lugging his big unconscious body around when they were bringing him back. That was kind of fun. Obviously, the big thing here, though, outside of the fun action scenes, is the ending where Blue Beetle turns because he steals something from the
it's the crystal that controls World. It's like the key.
And he steals that when no one knows about it, and then he turns when they're all getting in the same place to like recoup afterwards when the battle's finished. He turns on them and basically with his suit and the tech that he's got manages to take them all out by surprise.
Yeah, because he does catch them by surprise. They have no, I'm sure, with one maybe he could take out a couple of them, but
he basically just turns around and starts shooting at them like in the middle of the scene.
They have no chance to react, understandably so.
And I actually like that Cass ends up underneath Mongol. She's just kind of like trapped by Mongol's unconscious body.
Yeah, she's strong, but hey, he weighs a lot.
Yeah. So that was Arsenal.
Does end with Arsenal getting away, right?
Yeah, Arsenal gets away because he's not willing to be taken again. He also
does try and get him sucked out into space, though.
Yes, he goes for the aliens route. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great plan. Let's do that when the one guy who's in a suit that can withstand this is the guy that you're trying to suck out.
Poor Wolf and everyone else is like clawing to try and not get sucked out into space at the same time. Yes.
Yeah, it's cool for him with his robot arm. He can just grab on.
Yeah. Bad move. It
was a really bad move.
He went for the Spider-Man play. If I saw this really old movie, we should use this tactic. I'll tell you this right now. I'm expecting another one of those in the next Avengers, right? Because it makes sense to like do a third to like, round it off as a trilogy of jokes. I'm like, it's a bit on the nose now. It was funny the first time, and I let them away with the aliens reference because it came out on Aliens Day, and it felt just perfect to reference aliens when I saw Infinity War.
And you just love aliens.
And I love aliens, but I feel like a third one's going to be too on the nose.
What movie do you do though? Because they're gonna do it. So what movie do you do?
Well, I mean, they've done Star Wars and Aliens, so these are really big pop culture. I feel like it's going to be something like Back to the Future, or what else was of that era?
Back to the Future maybe might be really relevant.
Oh, given the plot of the movie, yeah. Something from the late 70s, early 80s. There'll be something in that range.
Yeah.
Terminator maybe.
It could be.
Terminator maybe. But. Yeah, so Bumblebee is with his team. They're all happy. It's worth mentioning.
Blue Beetle.
Sorry,
I said Blue Beetle's with you said Bumblebee.
You said Bumblebee. Sorry, Blue Beetle. I meant Blue Beetle. Blue Beetle.
Jeez.
Blue Beetle. Blue Beetle's with Green Beetle and Black Beetle.
I know they're bees and beetles, but come on.
But it's interesting from the perspective of the episode though that the Reach have to actually help fight at one point because they this will ruin the planet we're trying to pillage here. We have to help, and they actually lose like two.
Mongol's coming to stop the Reach.
Yeah,
that's why he's here. It's not Earth specifically that's the problem.
And they lose 2/3 of their fleet in the fight.
But
apparently this crystal from Warworld is actually enough of a prize that they're quite pleased with the outcome. So
that's because they basically have Warworld now.
Yeah. So that was War. So 2 solid episodes.
I like the ending to the Mal and Bumblebee plot. I like that him being like, "Hey, I get it. You've outgrown me." It felt like a really interesting, relationship.
Yeah, but
stuff.
Of course she says, "You are stupid because like you being there is kind of what gives me strength. You're this reliable person in my life." So they're not actually break it up. They're happy. They're
no, of course. But I like that it felt very honest and real again.
Yeah.
Like not necessarily just a kids show.
Oh, sure. Yeah, it's a bit more than what you'd expect from a kids show. Yeah. So we got 5 left. 1, 2,
I think so.
3, 4. Yeah, I got 5 left. So got 3 more weeks of this, and we'll be done with the season. So. But that will end the show. That'll take us. Obviously, if we had new episodes, we'd be picking our favourite of the week, but we don't. So this is just the end. And in the end, nothing really matters.
Really, you're gonna go with the Linkin Park song?
Well,
let's say you're gonna close this out.
I mean, I'm okay with quoting song lyrics here or there if the situation presents itself.
What you mean is if you've already accidentally done it, and
yes,
it springs to mind.
But what will normally happen is I'll just say the first line of something because it's in context and it makes sense, and then I'll realize, oh, that's like the song, and so I'll say the next line as well just to go with it.
Of course.
Yeah. If I said so and so got knocked down, but he got up again, you ain't ever gonna keep him down.
Oh.
So on and so forth. But anyway, that is the episode. That is TV from the Multiverse. We're clocking into very similar run times every week right now. That we do get longer once we hit
real shows.
Yeah, once there's like 5 new shows on every week, and we have meaty things to say about those. The episodes do get a bit stretchy. That's just assuming there's any new listeners or viewers in the off season, because there might be. It's not the likely time that new people will find the show, but they might.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of backlog for you though. If you just found it, go back and listen to all of the last season of stuff.
Yeah, and watch the. I think what's funny to me about going back and like seeing our opinions throughout the season after we've finished it is just seeing the graph of our like
the optimism at the start.
Yeah, like
see, what you mean.
Go back and look at like what our opinion of the Flash season 4 was at the start, and then sort of rise up, and then sort of slowly decline, and then spike for Flash time, and then come right back down.
Yeah,
and it goes up.
Supergirl's kind of up and down.
It's all over the place. Arrow's just start slow, and kind of.
Maybe that's what we should have done after the seasons. We should have, the following week, the first week of the off season. Maybe it should have been a discussion of the seasons as a whole.
A post-mortem.
Yeah. How do we feel? At the end, not just this is how we felt at the end, but a look at the course of the season.
I think we kind of have some of that talk in the finales usually.
We get a little bit to it, but maybe a dedicated section on the week after.
Maybe that's something we could do. And then Legends had a couple of dips, but it was generally pretty consistent with a couple of spikes.
Pretty solid.
Yeah, with a couple of spikes that were Beeble related.
Yeah. God, I can't believe that's far and away the one I'm most looking forward to.
It kind of is. And then Krypton, surprisingly, probably in number 2.
Yeah, that's weird.
That's weird, isn't it? Black Lightning's up there. Black Lightning was really solid and consistent.
Black Lightning is really solid and consistent, and it's a better show than most of the others. But it doesn't get me excited.
So far, we'll see how season 2 shakes up.
Yeah, it could change.
Interesting to see the outsiders and what they do and whatnot. But yeah, so we're getting close. We're mid-August now. We got probably just under 2 months until we get stuff back. So more off-season content. So like we say, once we're done with Young Justice, we're going to do some of the animated movies that they've done. We've done a couple of movie reviews before of some of the animated movies, just sort of as they've come out. But there's a lot of older ones that we've not done. So this is really just an excuse for us to go back and watch Dark Knight Returns and a couple of the other good ones again, probably.
Yeah. But we haven't decided which exact ones we do yet.
No, not up for. No, you can actually suggest them if you want to tell us in the comments. If you want to try and basically campaign for certain animated DC movies that you want us to do, feel free. We'll take it under consideration. That said, Mask of the Phantasm and Batman and Mr. Freeze Sub-Zero are off limits because we'll do them at the end of the animated series because they're part of that continuity.
No, absolutely. I mean, it's possible we'll end up just working through them in order so that we can tick them all off eventually.
I don't want to watch Superman Doomsday though, because we just did Death of Superman
That's true,
month.
And that was like the first one.
That was the first one, yeah.
So scratch that then.
Yeah.
There's no point. If we're not doing the first one, there's no point doing an order from that.
Exactly. So yeah. So campaign for which of the DC animated movies from Superman Doomsday onwards. But obviously we just said we're not doing Doomsday, but that's the starting point though.
Yeah.
All those since then, and we'll get maybe 4 or 5 in before the shows come back. But hey, so that is us. So thank you very much once again for watching. If you want to support the podcast and the channel and everything we do here, head over to patreon.com/MaileFuzzTV, and you can support us for as little as $1 per month to get some bonuses for that, get a few things, and And you can, of course, support us other ways, like, subscribe, comment, all the usual stuff. You can, of course, also just turn off your ad block and watch the ads. If you can't donate to Patreon, and obviously don't feel bad about it, but, you know, watch the ad on YouTube. So it's a nice, easy, free way of supporting us, and you can do that and feel warm and fuzzy inside. But that is it. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching the superhero TV shows and silly cape things, where people utter ridiculous phrases such as, "Sometimes we screw things up for the better."